people.
Major Garrett's over at Obama headquarters right now. Major, what is it like in there?
Well, it's incredibly loud. It's incredibly jubilant, Shepard, and everyone there on the panel. You know, about 10 months ago, Barack Obama said he could transcend American politics. And he said just a moment ago, this was a transcendent moment, one that America would never forget. And you know what? He's right. Not because he said it, Shepard, and everyone else there, but because the Clinton and Edwards campaign told me that before tonight. They said, listen, if Barack Obama can bring a turnout over 200,000, we look like it's going to be 232,000, he will have transformed all the politics in Iowa. He will have rewritten the entire rule book, and God bless him if he can do that. And the Edwards people said, if he can have a turnout that high, if Obama can bring that kind of enthusiasm to a Democratic caucus that's never seen turnout like that before, he may be able to win the nomination, he may be able to win the presidency, because that will mean he will attract not only Democrats, but independents and even a handful or two of Republicans. Another point. Here in Iowa, this has been on the Democratic side a battle among unions. And the union that was thought to be most powerful in this state, the American Federation of State, County, Municipal Employees that backed Hillary Clinton, that Governor Tom Vilsack told me today was the only union that mattered in this state, didn't deliver for Hillary Clinton. She came in third. There is 67% of tonight's turnout that's against Hillary Clinton. That is a shattering expression in the Democratic ranks of change. And I just want to leave you with this anecdote. As you all know, I got to Iowa about 5 weeks ago. And one of my first trips was to Davenport, Iowa. It was an event for Barack Obama. I met a professional woman there in her mid-50s. She's right in Hillary Clinton's sweet spot, precisely the kind of woman you would expect here in Iowa to support Hillary Clinton. I said, weren't you motivated to support Hillary Clinton because of the historic nature of her feminine bid for the White House? She said, I was. I was deeply motivated by that. But you know what? If we elect Barack Obama, the moment that happens, America will think differently about itself forever. That's what drives me to Obama. I heard that 5 weeks ago last night, and tonight we saw exactly what that meant and how it was expressed by Iowans all over the state. Wow, you know, 500,000 donors contributed to this. That amounts to 1 out of 300 Americans. And what I'm really curious about here is, if you are, Major, as one who's been following the Democrats in Iowa for 5 or 6 weeks solid, if you're Hillary Clinton, you bring your entire national campaign here. By your own admission, you have 5,000 cars to drive people to the polls. You have hundreds of snow shovels. You have your 88-year-old mother of Hillary Clinton here. You have the daughter. You have the former president. The advantage of years and years of the Clinton machine. And a young man, a young African-American man from Illinois comes in here and beats you, and John Edwards does too. Are they in trouble, or is this just another Iowa blip? Oh, no, they're in trouble, Shepard, and I think they know it. You saw tonight Hillary Clinton said, I congratulate everyone. Our country's hungry for change, but who can deliver change? She's going to have to try to find a way to make herself the persuasive and believable change agent. She tried it here over and over and over again, but it never took hold. And there's one interesting thing about you mentioning the national campaign came here. Sometimes, Shepard, and we discussed this earlier this afternoon, sometimes that causes more harm than good. I'll tell you the way Barack Obama organized this campaign in Iowa. Just as he organized community workers when he was a community outreach worker in Chicago after he left law school. He had a community-by-community approach here in Iowa. He never brought his national heavyweights in here except to provide advice, to listen to what the community organizers were saying all across Iowa, take their advice, incorporate it into the message and the overall strategy, but it was bottom-up. And the last month here in Iowa for Clinton, it was top-down. Sometimes top-down does not work. It did not work tonight. Hillary Clinton has to recalibrate that strategy, has to find a way to identify herself credibly as an agent of change, and also has to deal with John Edwards. Because as he said tonight, if you listen to his speech, it was practically a victory speech. Because any Democrat who beats Hillary Clinton believes they've won, even if they came in second. That was a clear message from John Edwards. I won tonight because I beat Hillary. That gives you some insight into the level of ambivalence there is in the Democratic ranks about the Clintons retaking the reins of the national party. There is some sentiment in the Democratic ranks that leading the party was very good for the Clintons, but may not have been so good for the party. That is one of the embedded debates in this race.
For where? Guess where? New Hampshire. Major Garrett is set to head out shortly with Senator Barack Obama. Major, what's going on? Are they cleaning up yet? Folding up the chairs yet?
They're folding up the chairs, Greta, but on this historic night, when for the first time in Iowa history, an African-American man won the Iowa caucuses, and for the first time in Iowa history, more than 232,000 participated in the Iowa caucuses, there are two dramatic storylines here. One is between Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama, the other with John Edwards. I'll get to John Edwards in a second. For Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama, what was once inevitable, Hillary Clinton, is now endangered. What was once merely hopeful, Barack Obama, is now successful. And the interplay between those two has been fascinating in Iowa for the better part of 5 weeks. They both raised $100 million. They both brought tremendous organization to this state. But in the end, the candidate who first defined change, Barack Obama, defeated the one who tried to adapt herself to a message of change down the stretch, Hillary Clinton. Now John Edwards, he came in second, a distant second to Barack Obama, but he beat Hillary Clinton. Why does that matter? Because John Edwards had a fraction of the amount of money to spend here in Iowa. He was smaller staffed, he had a smaller organization, at least of paid people, and yet he fought through Hillary Clinton's money, her endorsements, her large organization with the public employee unions here, and he came in second. That means he believes he can fight on. Does it mean he will get the financial resources necessary to wage a national campaign? That is still unclear. But at least he can fight credibly in New Hampshire and fight Obama for the definition of what constitutes real change. For Obama, change is transcending politics, transcending red state, blue state politics, bringing people together and advancing a joint cause. For Edwards, it's diametrically different. For Edwards, that means fighting entrenched interests, picking a fight and then winning that fight on behalf of fed-up Democrats who believe in they're in the middle class, they're getting squeezed. How does Hillary Clinton fit into that change dynamic? Well, that's going to be a very important question for her to answer, and she doesn't have much time to do it. Back to you, Greta.
Major, here's what I don't get. Everyone keeps talking about Senator Clinton came in third. Yes, technically she came in third, but it's not like 1988 where President George Bush 41 came in third, a distant third. I mean, they were Edwards and Clinton, at least to me, looking at these numbers, it doesn't seem like, there's a tremendous difference. Am I wrong about that? It seems almost like there's a tie for second.
Well, here is what I would say is an essential difference. First of all, Hillary Clinton did not enter this race the way any other candidate ever has. She had 99% name recognition. She was the biggest brand name in the history of modern Democratic politics. She had the backing of the former governor of this state, Tom Vilsack. She had the most powerful union in this state, AFSCME, behind her. She had the most endorsements of anyone in this state. She had the most endorsements in the Senate, in the House. She had an inevitability about her candidacy. She had money. She had everything you would want to bring into a campaign except one thing: very high negatives, and a sense of reluctance amongst Democrats about what bringing the Clinton brand name would mean back to the presidency and back to the head of the party. That drag on her proved more injurious than I think she and her advisors imagined. They always knew it would be tough here, but she knew going into this, Greta, that if Barack Obama won big, he would get an enormous media boost, an enormous money boost, an enormous sense of possibility around his candidacy, and that's going to be tough to combat, because once people get the sense of possibility, of changing things fundamentally, they're attracted to it. That's always been Obama's belief until tonight. It was a theory. Tonight, he put it into practice.
The job which we should have done, which should have been our primary focus, to find, bin Laden.
Mr. bin Laden used to live in Sudan. He was expelled from Saudi Arabia in 91, and he went to Sudan, and we did it. They released him. At the time, 96, he had committed no crime against America, so I did not bring him here because we had no basis on which to hold him, though we knew he wanted to commit crimes against America. So I did not bring him here, though we knew he wanted to commit crimes against America.
Secretary of State Madeleine Albright said, well, if we bomb Afghanistan now, it's not a good time to bomb Muslims. It'll essentially blow up the Middle East peace process and doom any chances President Clinton has of winning the Nobel Prize for Peace.
I was delighted when Jimmy Carter won the Nobel Peace Prize because I thought he earned it, and I thought it was great because he got it as much for what he did after office as when he was in office.
Bill Clinton is still campaigning for the Nobel Peace Prize.
I remember exactly what happened. Bruce Lindsay said to me on the phone, "We'll guide a second plane is hit the tower." And I said, "Bin Laden did this." That's the first thing I said. He said, "How can you be sure?" I said, "Because only Bin Laden and the Iranians could set up a network to do this. And they wouldn't do it because they have a country and targets. Bin Laden did it."
Did you also think at the same time we came pretty close to getting them?
Yeah, I thought that my virtual recession was well placed, and I was full of regret that I ever did it. I mean, I immediately thought that he had done it. I always ask the same question for 8 years. Can we kill him tomorrow?
Bin Laden is alive today because Mr. Clinton, Mr. Sandy Berger, and Mr. Richard Clark refused to kill him. That's the bottom line.